Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Secretary, for being here today. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, passed by President Trump, provided tax relief to millions of middle-class Americans and their families. The doubling of the standard deduction, the doubling of the child tax credit, and the adjusting of individual tax rates saved working-class people significant money on their tax bills. President Biden's comments have already been mentioned several times today, and he told the American people flat out that he intends to let the Trump tax cuts expire and remain expired. You've repeatedly said today that the president has no tax plan, only principles from which he will negotiate. Let me just say that allowing the Trump tax cuts to expire on middle-income Americans seems like a misguided principle to me. So let me ask you this, Madam Secretary. If the Trump tax cuts expire and President Biden fails to pass his tax plan, which actually currently doesn't exist, which Americans will pay less in taxes?
President Biden has made absolutely clear that he opposes increasing taxes on people earning less than $400,000, and he supports cutting taxes for working people and families with children to give them more breathing room. And he will work with Congress to try to achieve that.
Ma'am, reclaiming my time. Thank you. Isn't it true that nearly all middle-income individuals and families would pay more with the expiration of the Trump tax cuts?
Some individuals would, but President Biden has said he would oppose allowing tax cuts to expire for people making under $400,000.
But my understanding, though, is that he doesn't really have a tax plan. He just has ideas. And so how are you going to translate that into what?
There will be a negotiation over what to do when these tax cuts expire. And the president, as he does in many other situations, will negotiate with Congress.
But I think that if you let these expire, you are going to see increases. You are going to see increases. And without an alternative, I mean, we just right now, what you're saying is there's just an idea out there.
There are
principles. Right now, there are principles. Okay, principles. Same thing. There's no real plan, and you're going to let he's going to let these tax cuts that people are recognizing that they are seeing right now expire with just principles that
there will be a negotiation, and in that negotiation, he will oppose any tax increases on families earning under $400,000 at the same time that he will oppose keeping in place benefits that went to the wealthy.
And maybe you addressed this earlier, but is he going to tell us what these principles are? Is he going to give us some concrete?
He's told you what the principles are.
Okay.
I'm telling you what the principles are.
Then there's just not, I mean, we're supposed to rely on these ideas, principles, whatever you want to call them, when we have solid tax cuts right here, and they shouldn't be allowed to expire, because just a single parent making $52,000 a year with 2 kids would pay an average of $1,474 more in taxes if these expire. A married couple with 2 kids making $85,000 a year would pay on average of $1,661 more in taxes if these expire. A retired married couple making $48,000 a year would pay an average of $340 more in taxes if these expire. That's real dollars to these people, and that are paying these taxes and are recognizing and are seeing these breaks under the Trump tax cuts. And so to just say that for the president just to say he's going to let them expire doesn't seem very responsible, because these are real people that are paying these, that would pay more taxes. And so I guess we just are supposed to rely on the principles and the idea that he'll come up with something through negotiation to help these people. So with that, I yield back.
Mr.